I have over 40 properties on Airbnb. At this scale, the risk of somebody smoking, destroying a parking pass, keeping keys for the property, throwing a party is much higher than with a regular host. But I have good news. There's a way to prevent most of these, and the trick here is in house rules. I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's get to it. So welcome back, Airbnb family. Today, we're talking about house rules. And as many of you watching this channel, we've been growing faster and faster, it seems, every month. We're now over $80,000 this month on Airbnb. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna hit about $110,000 next month. That's really exciting. So, of course, today we're talking about how to prevent problems, how to prevent the unexpected, and how to recuperate costs without having to battle your guests in the resolution center if and when things occur. So I'm going to give you a list of my top 6 additions into your house rules, things you need to be putting in your house rules to make sure that your guests fly in formation when they stay at your place. So let's look at number 1. So number 1 is an extra clause that we put in to screen out locals. Now, Airbnb has this policy where you can't discriminate or tell people that they cannot book like certain types of persons. So what we do is we have this clause that says locals must communicate with us before booking. This is our first new house rule, the first one that they see. See, this doesn't always work, and this one's non-enforceable, but people will still contact you just to make sure that they understand that locals have to contact before booking because you're trying to screen out parties. So this allows you that one extra step, and it works most of the time. The rest of the ones that I'm showing you are going to be enforceable, which is, of course, what you need. So number 2 is about occupancy limits. So different size buildings have certain size occupancy limits. And of course, you say how many people can stay at your property. If you want to limit it to that, you put in your house rules that there cannot be any more than, say, 4 persons in or on your property at any one point in time. The violation of this could lead to the immediate removal of all guests without refund. That protects you from parties once again. Number 3, if you live or are hosting at an apartment complex where there are community guidelines, you'll post that the person will respect and follow all community guidelines listed inside of the apartment, which you'll leave the community guidelines in there or post it anywhere on the property. So this helps you make sure that you enforce those rules. Number 4, for self-check-in properties. If you have a self-check-in property, you will write that this is a self-check-in property. You certify that you are willing and able to follow the instructions that you're being provided by Airbnb through either the house manual or the check-in guide. You can find your check-in guide or house manual here or here. You also agree that you will not contact your Airbnb host before reading your house manual. There. So this helps if somebody books and they try to send a message and you don't respond in time because you're busy, or they try to show up and they get confused, right? Because they don't do things the right way and then they just kind of cancel their booking and try to blame you. This helps you defend the fact that this person understood that this is a self-check-in property and they had the tools that they needed and they decided that they were just a little fed up right away and decided to cancel the booking. It's actually worked in our favor when Airbnb has to split hairs on a resolution. So number 5. Fees. We're going to bundle all these together. So there is a $200 per day smoking fee for each day you're in the listing smoking when you're not supposed to be. There's a $50 late checkout fee if your checkout is unauthorized to be late. Cost to replace keys or other needed items, such as a parking credential. If somebody destroys a parking credential, it's this amount of money. Or they keep it, it's this amount of money. To replace the keys, it's this amount of money. You're also going to force them to take responsibility now for any other losses that you may incur because they did something wrong. This includes if the person decides not to follow your rules, either checkout, smoking, or anything else. If any non-following of your house rules leads to you having to refund or discount a next guest, they are responsible to pay that as well. Number 6, whenever any of our buildings tell us that all of our guests have to pass a screening to stay at our property, and yes, some of our properties make us do individual guest screenings, we put it in our house rules that you must pass a criminal background check to stay here. You understand this and you agree to fill out the form that you will be given by your host. If you do not pass your criminal background check, we have the right to cancel your reservation, and we will award you a refund in accordance to our strictness settings on our cancellation policy. All of these bundled together protect you from most everything you ever should worry about with your guests. Now, there's another one that we're considering, so bonus is number 7, a retaliation clause. So you agree that you're booking in goodwill with your host and that you will not attempt to damage your host's business because you are unhappy with a ruling by Airbnb or the host in the event that you experience anything dissatisfying, in regards to your stay, or if you lose a resolution. So you are now waiving your right to a trial if we sue you. And if we sue you and this has to go to trial for any reason, you agree to pay all court costs, and etc. So we're going to figure out how we want to put that language. But the concept of this is if a guest shows up, something happens that they're not happy about, or something happens where you have to file a resolution and they lose that resolution, that they agree not to retaliate and that you will take XYZ action against anybody who tries to damage your business because they were unhappy with the outcome of a resolution or some sort of experience or loss that may come from them not following your rules. Now, to give you a reason why we are thinking about this is we had a guest not follow the parking instructions at a building and they got towed because they did not park where they're supposed to, right? Because they got towed, they want us to pay for their tow fee. So we decided to tell them, we're in the right here. We don't have to pay for your tow fee. You've really screwed that up. They booked last minute. They showed up at 1 a.m., I think intoxicated possibly, and only stayed for that one night and got towed. So we said, sorry, you read our house rules, and the house rules tell you where you can park. It's in the manual, it's there. So we are not liable for your parking fee. So they decided that they were angry, and they tried to squat in the apartment and refuse to leave and talk the next guest out of staying because we were shady people. See, that's retaliation. And we had the right to pursue them if we had to, but I had to show up at this property and I fixed it. But if we had to sue them or try to collect money because of said behavior, we want to make sure that in the future we're protected against that as well. So consider that one. And touch base with me in a week or two. I'll probably have the language figured out there. But house rules are insanely important to cover all of your bases because Airbnb only gives you a few general ones, but because the person reads them before agreeing and paying, they're binding. Use them and save yourself a lot of trouble. Thank you for watching Airbnb Automated. I'll see you on the other side.